Welcome to Magic Hour. I'm your host, Paul Chappell, and today we are reviewing Netflix's Over the Moon. Now, people, this movie is important, and I'm going to tell you why it's important in a minute, but the first thing I will mention about this movie is that it has an all-Chinese cast. Why is that important? Well, the Chinese market is obviously becoming very important. And this is Netflix's way of saying, we will not ignore you, China. In fact, we are using this film to compete with those other studios that thought they had a lock on the animated market. This movie is on par with Disney Animation Studios, with Pixar, with all those big powerhouses that make animated films. And Netflix is really bringing it. Even the director on this movie, his name is Glenn Keane, was an animator at Disney Animation. So this movie is going to be important because it shows you that Netflix is not taking the threat of Disney Plus lying down. They are actually going to compete. Okay, but let's go into the plot of the movie. The movie is about a little Chinese girl named Fifi. Her mother tells her a story about a Chinese goddess of the moon, Chang'e, and this girl keeps that tale that her mother told her well into her teenage years, even after her mother dies. And she dreams of going to the moon and reuniting with her mother. The movie is all about her creating her own spaceship and making that dream come true. Now, at one point in the movie, it switches from a fairly realistic depiction of a little girl hoping and dreaming in China, and all the family dynamics were really good, but it was grounded in reality until a certain point in the movie, it went solidly into the fantasy realm. So let's get into the good, the bad, and ugly. What's the good on this film? Well, as I've already said, the animations is on par with Pixar and Disney, and some of the storytelling elements are on par with Pixar and Disney. If you knocked me out and woke me up and made me watch this movie and didn't tell me anything about it, I could have sworn this was a Disney film. If you just didn't let me see the opening credits and all of that. Or if you substituted the opening credits for the Disney castle, nowhere during my viewing of this movie would I think, oh, this is a movie made by some inferior animation studios. And that's the feeling I got from some of the other animated films that Netflix has done, but this one, like I said, it's on par with the very best. And the other good thing I would say is that the movie taught some important lessons about dealing with the death of a loved one and about moving on, letting go, accepting newer realities in your life. That's something that everybody who lives a significant amount of time is going to have to deal with. You're going to have to deal with the death of your parents. You're going to have to deal with new situations. That's just life. Life is change. And if you can deal with change, you will survive. I think that's the most important lesson I learned watching this movie. So in that way, it is also on par with Pixar and Disney Animation Studios. And that also was kind of a problem because at a certain point, and let's get solidly into what was bad, I felt like it was kind of derivative of many elements that are done a little bit better in the Disney and Pixar film, including having all these adorable sidekicks. Fifi does not have just one adorable sidekick. Now, usually it's a little animal that Disney throws into the movie to make the primary protagonists seem even more cuter than they already are. In this film, Fifi has a little bunny rabbit. She also has an annoying stepbrother. He's a sidekick. Then there's some sidekicks that she runs into when she enters this realm of the Chinese goddess, because what happens is she takes off in her spacecraft and she enters the atmosphere of the moon, and she finds out that everything she was told by her mother was actually true. There is a Chinese goddess floating around the moon who has her own realm. And I won't go further into what happens, but because I don't want to spoil it. But yes, hijinks ensue, and there's a lot of great things that she has to accomplish before she can go home. So anyway, I would also say the musical numbers were not on par, although they tried very hard to make them just as memorable as something you might see in Frozen. But ultimately, I don't think they were so good that I can't even remember one of the hooks of any of the songs that were played during this movie. They were pretty good, but are they iconic as something like Let It Go? No. I mean, they still got a little ways to go. I've already said they're giving Disney and Pixar a run for their money, but they're not totally there yet. This is pretty good effort by Netflix. Compared to what I've already seen from some of their other movies, this was a fantastic entry into the animated film category. I'll just leave it at that. I didn't have anything that I thought was ugly about the film. Overall, I would recommend this. I would give it a 3 out of 5. Like I said, there's still some room for improvement with Netflix in these animated films, but this is a solid effort by them. It had so many things that I liked about it, and it reminded me of so much of the bar that had been set by Disney and Pixar. And I hate to keep comparing it to those, but you can't get away from that. Disney and Pixar really set the bar, particularly with American audiences. We've just been spoiled by Disney and Pixar. So, if you're going to compete with them, you've got to bring it. And I thought, for the most part, it did its job. And yeah, I definitely think this is a movie that will be welcome in any home with children. But that's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my subscribers and encourage you. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Comment down below. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.